Hello there, my name's Adam Cook, and I'm joined by Dan Murphy. How are you, Dan?
Freezing, because my boiler's broke and the house is falling to pieces and it's very cold. But regardless, we go on. How are you?
Well, I'm interested to hear what you have to say, because it seems like Far Cry 5, which is the game people are seeing, has been shown an awful lot. Like, it's one of the most previewed games. I've lost track genuinely of how many times we've been to see it. You know, you've been twice alone, and I think there may have been 2 times prior to that as well. But this is a little different, because if you want to know more about the story, more about the general gameplay of Far Cry 5, you can indeed look up on our YouTube channel that you're watching this on, or go to godisageek.com, and there's plenty of that. The reason we're here to talk to you today is because at the event in Paris where Dan went to play the game, and again, played the story from the beginning, I believe, he also had it revealed to him Far Cry 5's arcade mode. Dan, what is arcade mode?
Arcade mode is, and I believe it's been in previous games. I don't actually ever remember seeing it in previous Far Cry's. I never played it myself, but apparently it's been there in previous entries. And basically what it is a map creator for players and Ubisoft themselves to create and share and play maps using Far Cry's assets, and they can either be single-player missions, they can be co-op missions, or they can be PvP game modes. Now, the twist with arcade mode in Far Cry 5, opposed to previous entries, is that not only will you have assets from the Far Cry games to create your little worlds, you also have assets from both Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs to tinker with and make loads of weird stuff.
So, the last time I remember this being in the game, I want to say was Far Cry 2.
Really?
Yeah, I don't recall. Oh, I think there may have been some sort of map sharing in 3. I think.
Never did any. Oh, I think you're right. But I never did any multiplayer with Far Cry games.
But I'm intrigued. So this is not just a PC feature. This is PS4 and Xbox One as well.
I think so. Yeah, I was playing on PS4 and it was there, and it was it was working fully, and everything was hunky dory and whatnot. Unfortunately, due to the fact I had to catch a plane, I wasn't able to play the PvP, but it did seem as if there was going to be a massive lobby, so it would not surprise me at all if Far Cry Royale mode gets put in there fairly quickly.
Okay. So are we talking I mean, again, I haven't played this version. I didn't play a lot of arcade. I don't even know if it was called arcade mode actually back then, but whatever it was map creation and sharing. Are we talking, I guess the thing I would think of in the most modern parlance is Doom's Snap Map, where people can use the assets from the game to create their own new maps for people to play that they can share. That's what this is?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the gist of it. You get the whole rating system. The best ones will come to the top. The worst ones will, die. The 2 examples that I had to play on the 2, it was 2 single-player maps. I don't think they themselves were perhaps the best examples, but you can see the tools there and the possibilities for creativity that when the combined imagination of the community gets hands on it, you could see some interesting stuff being made. The first thing I played was a single player, kind of like a walking simulator called Journey, I believe it was called. And basically, I was in this big old house, and I had to get out of the house, and I was basically just I literally had to hold forward and then crouch a few times to get around this house. But it was nicely designed. It was weird and creepy. There was like goats knocking about and blood dripping off the walls. It was very satanic. It kind of started off as normal, and then as you go deeper in, go through more corridors, climb through vents and whatnot, it started getting weird and creepy, as if you'd gone through the looking glass. That the ending is like a big corridor with clocks floating in the air towards the door of light. So you can see there's a lot of, it's not just you kind of make a map kind of standard, if you get what I mean. It's not just going to be put this there, put that there. There's tools and you can do whatever you want, it seems like. This was really creative, kind of a bit creepy, to be honest with you. I was expecting a jump scare at some point. Thankfully it never came, because I would have shite myself. But just going round, it was clear that saying why this wasn't, it wasn't the greatest, it wasn't even particularly challenging, it wasn't long or anything like that, but you can see the scope that could be here. It's not just place of cover in certain places for a map. There's complete freedom. It does seem to make some interesting stuff. And the second one was a bit more standard, but it was a bounty hunt mode, and basically you had to choose your loadout before. You can either go in suicide mode with just throwing knives, or you can go in with a full, assault rifle, shotgun, Molotov cocktails. You have to basically breach this compound, find where your target is, and the target is actually the main bad guy from Far Cry 5 in normal clubber, which was weird. So you can have like them, and all these soldiers were all dressed in like, it was like a Watch Dogs compound. I think it was very kind of urban and industrial, and the soldiers were all in soldier kind of classic uniform, but they were all doing the same. They're all talking as if they're in Far Cry, and then again the boss was in was the boss from Far Cry, but he was in normal day clubber. So you can see how the kind of mesh of styles could be made to make some cool and weird, interesting stuff. But yeah, this was pretty standard and pretty easy. But you know, I can, as I'm saying, while I think the two examples we had weren't exactly the best, I do think it showed the scope and possibility that players, once they get their hands on it, will be able to create.
Well, it'll certainly be interesting. I mean, whether they give you the assets for the games that perhaps maybe fit the idea, like you say, the Watch Dogs about Battlefield, the Assassin's Creed. Maybe they end up putting some Rayman or Beyond Good and Evil in there. You never know. But I guess the only way we'll find out for sure is when, down the line after we've reviewed it, what they add to it. Sounds like a way they can keep the game going outside of the season pass. But listen, you can read Dan's impressions, multiple impressions. I think 3 different written articles now. This is the second video. Far Cry 5 has been well and truly covered in preview phase by GodIsAGeek.com.
March 27th, I believe it's out. Let me consult my calendar.
No, you're right. And it's end of March, yep. Be interesting to see how it does.
Be very
interesting to see how that story ends up working throughout what will probably be a 20 to 30 hour game.
Oh, it's going to be so long.
It's going to be long. Yeah. And if you want to find out, stay tuned to GodIsAGeek.com. Subscribe, hit the bell button to make sure you're notified when we put up one of our multiple new videos. And also follow us. Dan is at Mabrowski, and myself at JebusF, and of course at GodIsAGeek. Dan, thanks for your time. Thanks for going to Paris.
No worries at all.
And thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.